Hey guys, Magnus Robert here. I have a cold, so I'm going to try and get this over with as quick as possible because I don't want to have to be editing out all my coughs. So, today we are doing another episode of TSTO Battle of the Best Events. And in today's episode, we are doing Clash of Creeds Christmas Royale versus Into the Simpsonsverse. So, without further ado, there are 5 points to be won. First point is for structure and theme. Second point is for characters, costumes, and NPCs. The third point is for buildings. The fourth point is for decorations. And the fifth and final point is for my overall feel. So let's get into it with the oldest of the events, which is, of course, Clash of Creeds Christmas Royale. And let's talk about the structure and theme. So, Clash of Creeds Christmas Royale. The theme is, of course, well, this clash of creeds, basically. Essentially, they focus heavily on the Joy of the Sect episode, as well as bringing some other kind of religious-themed stuff in there. The main quest line focuses around the leader as a character. I thought it was a bit disappointing, personally. I didn't think it was that great of a theme. I liked what they were going for, don't get me wrong, but I think in execution it wasn't done very well. I wish they did something a bit better. I kind of like I said, I like the idea. I feel like if they focused a bit more on the Joy of the Sect stuff and we got some more Joy of the Sect stuff, like we got the 2 recruiters, and if we got some more kind of buildings and stuff from there, maybe they throw in some lawyers for that kind of theme. If they focus more on the episode, I think it could have been a bit better, but yeah, in terms of theme, it wasn't amazing. And then in terms of the actual structure, obviously it is a multi-event, like pretty much all the events, but in terms of how they laid out the prize tracks, it was really garbage. We obviously had the first act ended with a crowd, like the worst possible thing you could end for, but it did have a character, which is Krusty Claus, which I don't think was a great character anyway. The second act just didn't have a character or costume, full stop, and it ended with the Gospel for Less building, which is not a bad building, but still, no character. The third act did have Moses as the very, very first prize, and then it ended in the Burns Cult headquarters, which was a terrible building. I hated that one. It was such a reskin. And in the fourth act, we got a costume, which was Sexy Santa Marge, and it ended with Toy Town. Sexy Santa Marge is such a terrible costume, and the Toy Town is an alright prize, but I would have preferred it if it wasn't the final prize. So in terms of structure, I wasn't particularly impressed with the update, to say the least. Moving on, we have Into the Simpsonsverse. So of course, Into the Simpsonsverse was mainly based around that One Tree Has a Horror segment that we got last year, where basically we have a bunch of different Homer doppelgangers, but they're the best type of doppelgangers, I won't lie. This is obviously the most recent update, so most of you guys probably remember this one quite fondly, or maybe not fondly, maybe the opposite of fondly if you don't like the update. I personally think the theme was pretty good. I liked how they tied in things from different episodes. I think it worked quite well. Different buildings and characters and all that they tied in. I think that aspect did work quite well. I will say some of the prizes aren't great, but at least I think in terms of theme, it's much better than Clash of Creeds. And in terms of structure, well, of course, Act 1 ends with Noir Homer. It's a pretty solid act, but it does have tokens filling out prize tracks, which is the one thing Clash of Creeds has over this. At the very least, Clash of Creeds didn't have tokens filling out prize tracks, apart from Act 3, which Act 2, which re-added the space, sort of the flying saucer, but then it was a returning item, so I can let them off the hook for that. Yeah, Into the Simpsonsverse has a token filling out each prize track, which is a bit annoying, but each act ends with a character apart from Act 4, because it ends with New Tube, which at least is a cool-ass building, but was a bit of a boring Act 4, it was a bad climax. But in terms of structure of theme, which one do I give to the event? Which event do I give the point to? Well, personally, I think the best one in terms of theme was Into the Simpsonsverse and structure. Although yes, Clash of Creeds had some things tokens filling out the prize track. I also think Into the Simpsonsverse just about has a better structure, so I'd have to give it to Into the Simpsonsverse. Sorry, Clash of Creeds. Let's move on to the characters. So in Clash of Creeds, we have Krusty Claus. Now, Krusty Claus is fine as a character. I don't think he's amazing. I think there's an argument he should have been a costume, I guess, but then they did make other characters from that episode into characters and not costumes. So I'll give this, apart from Elf Part and Lisa, I think they're from the episode, right? But then they had the worker elves. They were a character, and that was basically Lewis and Jaffe. But then at that point, Lewis wasn't added, and Jaffe still isn't added, so I don't know. Krusty Claus, though, I'll give him 2 points. Moses, I think, is pretty cool. I'll give him 3. Yeah, 3. The leader, I'm just going to give the 1 point. I was very disappointed with what they did with him. Baby Jesus, I'll give him 1. King Herod doesn't get a point, full stop. He would have been a boring costume, and he's a boring character. Yahweh, I'm going to give him 1, 2, 3 points. I'm tempted to give him 4. Yeah, I'll give him 4. He's a really, really cool character, but he is kind of expensive. And although, yeah, he can earn donuts, it takes a while. I think it's like 3 days, doesn't it, to actually earn those donuts. So theoretically, you can earn your donuts back by using him, but then it's not like a massive worthwhile thing. So that's why I'm only going to give him 4. If it was a bit more worthwhile, if maybe you earned a bit more donuts, I would have given him like 10 points. I would have given him like probably 6 points, actually. I'd give him a bonus point. Why not? And then finally we have Andre. I think he's okay, to be honest. I don't think he's a terrible character. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'll give him 3. So that means Clash of Creeds finishes with 14 points for its characters. Moving on. Oh, wait. And there was Sexy Santa March, but she doesn't get a point. Moving on. We, of course, have Into the Simpsonsverse. So, we have Noir Homer, first of all. Noir Homer is pretty cool. Gonna give him... how am I feeling today? How many points should I give Noir Homer? Gonna give him 2. Princess Homer, gonna give her 1, 2, 3, 4 points. That's right. I really like Princess Homer. Anime Marge, I'll give her 1 point. She's okay. Noir Lisa, again, 1 point. She's alright. Anime Homer gets 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, I really liked Anime Homer as well. I think I prefer Princess Homer more, but I'll still give her... I'll be nice. I'll give them some points. The Ethereal Beings are fine. I'll just give them a point. I wasn't like that blown away by them. I think their inclusion was a bit off, personally. Evil Godmother Burns. I'm going to give her 2, mainly because I really like her animation on the castle, but she's a bit meh. Princess Jules, I'm just going to give the 1.2. And then Pixel Homer, sadly, I can't give him a point. Because he's super premium, and I don't think he's that worth it. Royal Unicorn, I'll give 1.2. I don't want to give more than that, because I think Royal Unicorn is probably the least underwhelming, the most underwhelming NPC we've got, but still a cool NPC nonetheless. So that means that Into the Simpsonsverse finishes with 5, 10, 15... 5, 10, 15... 17. Sorry, yeah, 17. So, of course, that means the point goes to Into the Simpsonsverse. Moving on. We, of course, have buildings. So, of course, Clash of Creeds needs to win this point if it still wants to be in with a chance of winning. So, let's start off with Clash of Creeds. So, we got the Towny Glen Springfield-y thingy. I actually really like this one. Gets 2 points. Gospel for Less is fine. It just gets a point, though. Burn Colt's headquarters does not get a point. I hate that building so much. Toy Town is... yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll give it 2 points. The Movementarian compound, I wished it was a little bit bigger personally. It's not what I was expecting. I kind of wanted it to be a bit more. And I think it would have been much cooler if you could actually build the compound. Actually have like the little huts, the welcome center, the bean thingies, and then the forbidden barn as well. And actually build up the compound yourself. Maybe give us the fences, give us a different fence, give us the Movementarian sign. I just think that would have been a much better way. And that way you could have, had the event be a bit more based around that episode, pull out the content a little bit, stretch it a little bit, I think that would have been much better, and so I was quite disappointed by that building. Maybe it's my personal preference, but that's just me. I think even the building on its own is just way too scaled down, so I'm only going to give it 1 point. Baby Jesus' house is actually a quite nice looking house. I don't like Baby Jesus as a character, but his house is pretty cool, so I'm going to give him 2 points for that building. I actually really like it. Herod's Citadel, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give it 2. And then the Jewish Walk of Fame, I'll also give 2. Meaning they finish with 12 points. Very good. Moving on into the Simpsonsverse. So we have, first and foremost, the Private Investigator Office. Really like the look of this one. I was a bit iffy on it at first, but now I've really come around to it. I think it looks really cool, so I'm gonna give that 2 points. Anime Krusty Burger also looks really cool. Gonna give that one 2 points. Yo-Yo's Cloud Palace, I'm like, it's fine. I'm just gonna give it the 1. YouTube, I do think is an awesome ass building. It's gonna get 2 points. Gimbal's Department Store. This one, I feel like, yeah, I'm just gonna give it 1 point. It's okay. It's a nice looking building. I actually think the black and white works quite well because it's, I don't know, like that type of store. I feel like it blends in quite nicely, but there's something off about it. The anime district is alright, but I think it's probably the worst building of the event. I wish you could put the road through it. If they put the road through it, I might be inclined to give it more than 1 point, but I'm just going to give it 1 point for now. Alien Utopia, again, I think it's a bit scaled down, a bit like the Movementarian compound. I'm like iffy on alien buildings. I just find them incredibly hard to decorate. The Fantasy Mountain Castle is so awesome. I love this one a lot. I don't care. It's gonna get 2 points. I'm tempted to give it 3, but the Cookie Castle, this one's okay as well. I'm debating between 1 or 2. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll give it 1 because the winner of the building round is Into the Simpsonsverse by 1 point. So that concludes that, because obviously now Clash of Creeds cannot win. It is impossible for them to win. In terms of the decoration point, I'm just having a quick look now. Again, this is just off the top of my head, so don't take this verbatim. Ooh, I think that one's tricky. You know, I think the decoration point is kind of tricky. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to work it out. Alright, I figured it out. The winner of the decoration point actually would have been Clash of Creeds. And then the overall feel point would have gone to Into the Simpsonsverse. So Clash of Creeds would have won 1 point at least. There you have it. If put up a little bit of a fight. So we'll submit those scores. So obviously the finales now is going to be Rise of Robots versus Into the Simpsonsverse. I know that there was a lot of backlash for me putting Rise of Robots. Well, I say backlash, it was just Spring King. But didn't like my decision. Looking back at it, I could maybe see me giving like 1 extra point to Treehouse of Horror. I feel like the character point I probably could have given to Treehouse of Horror. But I do think Rise of Robots just was a better update in the long term, at least by this point system. I don't know. I find it tricky because I do like the Hell update, but the Treehouse of Horror update, but I just don't like the decorations and the buildings. I'm like, part of me loves and part of me doesn't like. I always find it tricky, you know, at least with the Rise of Robots. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that update kind of lit some sparks a little bit for me personally. Like I feel like it kind of brought a bit more life to the game, because I'm just not a massive fan of Treehouse of Horror updates. I tend to not like them, so maybe it's just my bias there, but they have it. But yeah, anyway, the finals is going to be Rise of Robots versus Into the Simpsonsverse. I wonder which one will win. Yeah, and then we'll do the bronze match as well, which will be, it hasn't updated yet, but it will be, oh, there you go. It will be Clash of Creeds versus Treehouse of Horror. But we'll do this like briefly. I don't want to do a separate video for this one. What I'll do for the bronze match, I'll just do this at the start of the finals, because it's not like a proper bronze match, if you know what I mean. It's just the bronze match for the latest updates. But I figured we'd do it anyway, so I'll quickly, at the start of the video for this, I'll just give you a brief rundown. I'll do it before the video. I'll work out which one's the winner, and I'll tell you which one's the winner. I feel like I know who the winner's going to be, don't get me wrong, but well, I'll briefly go through it at the start of the next video, and then we'll do the finals, and then we'll have our final update of which one wins of this round, and then that update I will verse against the Destination Springfield update, and then we'll make sure that Destination Springfield, at least for me, and for this tournament thing that I've done, is the best update. I don't know if I would definitively say that Destination Springfield is the best update. I feel like I really have to evaluate. I think part of this, the issue with this sort of tactic of doing like rounds, is that it becomes a bit biased when it to certain things. I don't know. It's tricky. I try my best to make it as unbiased as possible, but it's really hard. At the end of the day, if there's an update I want to win, sometimes I might add an extra point to a character, or and I might just do it subconsciously. The only other option I really have is to like kind of do it which I think kind of makes it boring, is basically going back and figuring out what point I gave to what, how many points I gave to this character, and then repeating that point. The only issue with that is it kind of becomes a bit repetitive, because I'm like, so in this episode, I just repeating the same thing. Whereas like if I just record it and do it off the cuff, it's kind of like whatever's in the top of my head. It's almost like I think if I'm feeling in a good mood about a certain character, maybe I'll give them an extra point. Whereas like say, I don't know, I was reminded about something annoying about that character, I might be a bit mean to them. Yeah, it's a bit lazy. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware. I don't really like do much work for these videos. I just throw them together. They're a bit of fun, really. They're not meant to be too serious. But anyway, let's wrap it up now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I shall see you in the next one, where we'll be doing the finals. So yeah, goodbye.